Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, I guess by now you all know that I'm really passionate about growing gorgeous amaryllis flowers. But what I'm also really passionate about is using them as cut flowers, because amaryllis make fabulous cut flowers and they last just as long cut as they do if you were to leave them on the bulb. So today I just wanted to walk you through a few tips and tricks when using amaryllis as cut flowers, because there kind of are a few interesting things that happen with their stems, and also just some tricks to keep them from breaking because they are tall stems. So the first thing to talk about is that the amaryllis stem is hollow, and because of that, a few things tend to happen after you cut it and set it in water for a while. You might see that the stem curls backwards, and you might also see that the stem starts to crack. Those are both perfectly normal things to happen to an amaryllis stem, and at the end of the day, they're really not that serious in terms of the longevity of the flower in the vase. But there are a few things we can do to just make the stem stop splitting and cease from curling. So what you want for this is either some waterproof floral tape. I'm using just this clear floral tape. I think this is from the Oasis company, or you could just use a rubber band. And I always tend to just use whatever I have on hand. As long as it's waterproof tape or a rubber band, you're good to go. So then you'll just take a section of tape here, and right above wherever the amaryllis stem is cracking, you're just going to tape around that section. And basically you want the tape to adhere to itself. And just by doing this, this will stop the amaryllis from really cracking or splitting further. And even if it does crack a little bit more, it's never really going to get to the point where it's really out of control and cracking all the way up the stem. Or later on, I'll pull one of these out that is really curled back really badly. And now all I'm gonna do is give this guy a fresh cut right under that tape. And a lot of people like to cut amaryllis with a knife. I just tend to keep my pruners super duper sharp all the time. So I'll give it a fresh cut. And at this point, I could either stick it in water, but one other thing that tends to happen, especially with these really long stems of amaryllis, is that there'll be some cracking up here. Or if you set them in a bucket for a while and it starts to crack right there, your amaryllis may actually fall over just by the sheer size and weight of the flower head as it opens. So there's a really easy fix for this. And you can use a stick from your garden, even a stem from another plant. Like I say, I always use what I have on hand, and right now I have on hand bamboo stakes. So all I'm gonna do is take a bamboo stake and insert it, let me do it this way for you, and I'm just going to insert it into the stem of the amaryllis. And you can see it goes all the way up to the flower head. So even if this does tend to crack in transportation or in a bucket, it's not going to break in half. This bamboo cane is going to give it a lot of steady support no matter what happens to the stem. Now, there is sometimes a recommendation to take a little bit of cotton. This is about half of a cotton ball, and then go ahead and stick it up into the stem just to help the skewer or bamboo cane or whatever stay in place. I don't normally bother with this step because I normally just stick the cane in there and then stick it right back in to water. One other thing that's really helpful is to remove the pollen anthers from the amaryllis. So you can use a tissue, or I'm just going to use my hand for this because the pollen really isn't that developed at this point. And I'm just going to grab the pollen anthers and just remove them. And I'll just dispose of them. But by doing that, it eliminates the issue of the pollen developing, then the pollen shedding onto the petals. And especially if you're working with a red or maroon amaryllis, it really kind of does mess up the appearance of the amaryllis. You might have even seen that in the Kokedama amaryllis that I made. A lot of the pollen was shedding onto the petals, and it just doesn't look quite as nice. So just removing those pollen anthers does a world of good and doesn't harm the flower at all. Now, another way you can use amaryllis in terms of a cut flower is to hang them upside down. And you might have seen this before, maybe being used in a chandelier installation, maybe being hung from a window in a home, or maybe even being hung from the mantle or a Christmas tree. And since the stem is hollow, all you have to do is take some water and literally you just fill up the stem with water. And you can fill it till it's almost pretty much at the top. And then I do like to use the cotton ball for this. just so the water's not splish splashing everywhere. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick the cotton in. There we go. And once that's done, I can hang this amaryllis from wherever I please, and as long as the stem stays filled up predominantly with water, it will last. It's really amazing. And you know, I've even seen people not insert the cotton and insert kind of a floral arrangement into the stem. So you have kind of a floral arrangement coming from the stem here, and then the amaryllis hanging from down here. So really just so many great ways to get creative with the amaryllis. So as you can see, just another reason to embrace the amaryllis is to go ahead and cut it and use it in flower arrangements around your home, or to go ahead and sell it. I'm gonna put a picture on the screen of the proper harvest stage if you are selling an amaryllis, because I don't really have any in that particular stage at the moment, but the way you would wanna cut it is when the outer bud covering has opened, but before the inside buds have opened. And be sure to handle them with care because the buds do snap off really easily. And one other reason why I really love to cut amaryllis is because sometimes the bulbs, depending on the variety, or just the bulb itself, will send up really, really long stems. Take for instance this vase. Let me get this close to the screen so you can see how gorgeous it is. Now, isn't that absolutely glorious? And it almost looks like a candy cane, maybe a cinnamon stick candy cane, because this red leans a little more towards a blue red than an orange red like a regular standard candy cane. But look how tall this is. And you know, maybe I want to enjoy this on my kitchen counter. Maybe I want to enjoy it in a powder room. Well, it's just too tall to use for either of those things. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And once again, don't feel bad cutting your amaryllis because they last just as long in water as they do on the bulb. The other thing is I'm going to get multiple flower stems from these bulbs since I planted 34 to 36 centimeter bulbs. So we'll be good to go both on the bulb and in a vase. Now, even though this amaryllis stem hasn't started to crack or curl backwards onto itself yet, I'm just going to go in there with the Oasis tape preventatively and just tape right around the stem. You really only have to go around once. I mean, I guess go around twice. Why not, right? It can't hurt to go around twice. And now, doesn't that look beautiful in this antique blue and white vase? I got this blue and white vase for $2.50 from a consignment store. So I just love consignment stores, don't you? But you know, now I have a display that I can really put anywhere in my home. Whereas if I were to keep it on the bulb in the pot, I'm really limited to where I put this display. And the one other thing that might be helpful is that if you need your amaryllis to open a little bit quicker, go ahead and stick them into warm water and a warmer environment. Just like cool water and cool temperature kind of holds a flower in place and holds the longevity of the flower. If you're in need of an amaryllis to open quickly for an event or a dinner party, something like that you're having, and you bought them in tight closed bud and you're thinking, I need these to be wide open in 3 days, go ahead and stick them in warm water and a warm environment, and that will help them open quicker. Well guys, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope it's fun to see a few more of my amaryllis in bloom. I'm hoping to show you all the amaryllis that I grow over the course of my videos and, you know, kind of pair them with some tips that might help somebody out there. So yes, the varieties that I have here today are Christmas Gift, Gervais. This one, do you guys love this one? I gave one of these to my mom and I kept one for myself. I don't think I'll cut this one because it's nice and short, but this one is called Sweet Nymph and it's a double amaryllis, and isn't that fabulous? And then these are the Cape Horns that I showed you in the other video, and they're going over. So here's some amaryllis that are cut, but they're pretty much coming to the end of their life. And just like an amaryllis blooms on the stem, same thing when you cut it and you put it in water. They kind of each take their turn opening and being the dominant, beautiful flower. And then when it's done, you know, just snip it off and enjoy the one that remains until that one's gone. And then hopefully you have some more to cut from. So guys, I want to wish you a great day. Happy almost amaryllis Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Bye.